Okay, so we all know about the Switch 2 that is going to be coming out most likely next year. That's going to come with a lot more power, that it is potentially going to have close to the power graphical capabilities of either the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, and anyone who owns the original Switch knows that that is a huge step forward, because frankly the Nintendo Switch wasn't even powerful enough for the previous generation with the PlayStation 4. So for us to finally have a Nintendo Switch console that not only matches the PlayStation 4, which was a fair bit stronger than the Switch, but for it to go so far beyond that it can produce graphics potentially comparable to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, which as we know they are powerhouse consoles, that is very exciting. It lets the imagination run wild. How is the next Mario game? How is the next Zelda game? Mario Kart, Metroid Prime? How are Donkey Kong? How are all these games going to look, right? And then I realized we actually know exactly how it's going to look, and that is why we are so excited. Hey, by the way, my name's George and welcome to Gaming My Whole Life. If you are new here, while you remember, please hit the like button. It really helps with the algorithm, and of course consider subscribing now before you forget. Why does the Switch 2 excite me? Because it's a strange thought if you think about it. Nintendo is Mario, Nintendo is Zelda, and Nintendo is Mario Kart, right? Nintendo is Kirby, all these colorful, cel-shaded, cartoony, bright games, which if you think about it, don't actually need much graphical power. Like seriously, how much better could a Mario game possibly look? How much better could a Zelda game possibly look? At least that is the argument if you don't know any better, which is fair enough. You look at these games, they look super cartoony, they don't look realistic at all. Other games, other IPs, other game developers like, Xbox or especially Sony, you can imagine them putting greater power to great effect. You can imagine what they will do with the next The Last of Us game, right? You can imagine what they will do with the next God of War game, or if they ever bring Days Gone, please bring back Days Gone. But Days Gone or Ghost of Tsushima, right? Those are graphically demanding, impressive games that were only possible on their respective video game consoles, right? And they really showed off the power of the PlayStation 4 and ultimately the PlayStation 4 Pro. Really good. You know what us Nintendo fans were doing while we played Ghost of Tsushima for the first time on our Sony console? We were jealous. We were envious. All I could think about while playing Ghost of Tsushima was two things, right? The first one, because I'm a retro fan and I've done a lot of Tenchu videos on this channel, is all I could think of is I wish they'd bring back Tenchu so then I can that's why I got Ghost of Tsushima, because it made me think of Tenchu. The other thing that I was thinking about, and I've spoken to a lot of fans in my comment section because I like to really interact with my community and have countless great conversations with you lovely ladies and gentlemen. The one thing that all of us Nintendo fans think of is we play Ghost of Tsushima and we think of Zelda. We get jealous, we get so jealous, and rightly so, right? Ghost of Tsushima, just as an example, is beautiful. So many blades of grass, so many different effects. It really was a showpiece for the PlayStation 4. And the whole time I'm playing it, all I can think of is, my goodness, I wish Nintendo had access to such power. Could you imagine how good Nintendo games would look if it was at least as powerful as the PlayStation 4 Pro, right? That was like the bare minimum, because unfortunately, Nintendo games, our games are always a generation back. Not in terms of art style and beauty. I think Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are some of the artistically most beautiful games I've ever played. The dynamic day and night, the low loading screens, being able to literally jump out of the sky, through the clouds, onto the ground beneath. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing, don't get me wrong. But Nintendo obviously is limited. It has to work with the power that they have. So now, knowing that the Switch 2 is on its way, we are going to get our own Ghost of Tsushima but Zelda sort of experience. We're going to get our own Days Gone sort of game, right? Well, okay, it's not going to be Days Gone, but The Last of Us 2 and 3 and God of War. I'm just listing off graphically really demanding Smexy games that have come out on other platforms, exclusives that Nintendo had no chance of ever having because we had the weaker hardware. So to know that Nintendo is finally going to be there, that we are going to be able to have not only graphics as good as these PS4 Pro games, no. We are going to get graphics even better because it's Nintendo, because they make sure they put the time and effort into their creations. You know, artistically they are second to none, and also everything is really interactive and so forth. So if Nintendo wanted a more realistic Zelda and they chose a Ghost of Tsushima sort of style, if they chose that, you know, they need to want to, it would look even better, right? It would look even better. So as powerful as a PS5, I don't think it will be as powerful as a PS5, but I think it will be not so far back that the games don't look like PS5 games anyway. So the next Zelda game, the next Mario Kart game, the next Metroid Prime, the next Donkey Kong, the next Kirby, all of these amazing first-party Nintendo games being anywhere in between a PS4 Pro and a PS5, and I don't care where it is on that line. The point is it's going to be there. That comparably to the Nintendo Switch is going to be night and day. We are not going to recognize just how good Switch 2 games are going to be. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, and about time. Us Nintendo fans, we're always a generation behind when it comes to brute power. And yes, of course, I've heard the argument before that graphics don't matter as much as gameplay. Yes, but you know what I say to that? There's no reason why we can't have it all. We know Nintendo games rock. They do, they rock. They sell for a reason. Nintendo will put 6, 7, 10 years of development time behind a game if that's what it takes until the quality of a game is good. You want to know why Metroid Prime 4 isn't already out, even though they've been working on it for ages? Because it didn't reach the Nintendo standard, right? Nintendo still have standards. They will outright not let a game come out and restart development if it isn't literally amazing. Like, just no word short of it, right? Nintendo games, you can buy them day one. You don't need to worry about patches. Is it going to launch broken? Is it going to launch without features? No. If a Nintendo game comes out, it is complete. That is the exciting aspect of it, right? And of course, it's very easy to forget the fact that, because we keep talking about established IPs that we already know and love, and we can expect the next Mario, Zelda, this and that. Like, I'm guilty of talking in this loophole as well, right? But it's very easy to forget that actually every single time Nintendo releases a new video game console, they also release brand new IPs. Back on the Wii U, they released Splatoon. That was an original creation from start to finish, right? Then on the Switch, they released ARMS. Remember ARMS? You've probably already forgotten about it. But the point is, they always release brand new IPs to go along with the new consoles and so forth. So it's safe to assume that on the Switch 2, we will get something else. And one thing which I've spoken about before in this channel, and I'd love Nintendo to finally do it, is Nintendo needs to create an IP, right? To make a brand new video game series where its job is literally to show off the power of whatever video game system Nintendo currently launches. Because yes, with Mario, with Zelda and this and that, they will show off the sexiness, the power of the new console, and they will look phenomenal, like I am sure of it. However, they can't really flex pure strength and technical features and this and that in terms of realism like the competition can do. So for example, on the PlayStation, right? And I'm going to keep referring to the PlayStation because they're the ones with the IPs that have the more realistic natures, right? So Days Gone is an excellent example of what realistically pushing graphics mean, right? When you play those games, videos on YouTube doesn't do it credit, right? Play Days Gone on your 4K TV, it looks phenomenal. You know, or Ghost of Tsushima, any of these more realistic games. The Last of Us, right? The amount of detail is incredible. Nintendo literally does not have an IP where they can do that, right? They have to work within what they have. You know, they can make Mario look as good as possible, but of course you can't make Mario realistic because then we enter this really weird uncanny valley and no one's going to like it, right? Same thing sadly with Zelda and this and that. So I would love to see Nintendo create a brand new IP, you know, make it fun, do all the good Nintendo stuff, but make a brand new IP where the graphical art style is intentionally realistic so then Nintendo can flex, so then Nintendo can show off, so then there is no question in anyone's mind just how more powerful their next console is, right? You need that like tech demo experience, but you know, make it an actual game to show off how good your next system is. So then with Because in this day and age, because YouTube does a lot of compression and so forth, what you see isn't what you get. And I've spoken about this before, whether it's an Xbox Series X game, whether it's a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 game, right? Heck, even on the Switch, to be frank, any YouTube video you look at in any screenshot doesn't look anywhere near as good as it is in person. So when Nintendo is going to release the Switch 2 and they want to show off, hey, this is much more powerful, I hope they have their brand new IP up front and center, showing off graphical features that you take one glance at it and you know immediately. You're like, oh, that was not possible on the Switch. This Switch 2 must mean business. But other than that, I just want to share the excitement that, hey, we don't know exactly how powerful the Switch 2 is going to be, but we know it is going to be more powerful. And finally, we can stop being jealous of all the Sony exclusive IPs like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Screw it. We can have our Zelda look as good. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I've been tired of being behind. Even if I'm a little bit behind, as long as I get my third-party AAA support so we don't miss out every time a game comes out, that's good enough for me. I really want to see what Nintendo will do going forward. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me. God bless you all, take care, and I'll see you for the next video. Alright, bye-bye.